transformations, okay? All right, so for exponential, 0, 1, all right, and 2, okay? Now, your anchor point here, all right, is going to be 0, 0, okay? So what that means is I'm going to have, since it's an exponential, I'm going to have a horizontal asymptote. So for exponentials, that's a horizontal asymptote through 0, 0, okay? Now, when I substitute these values in, that's going to be 1, 3, and 9. So from 0 over, 1 up, okay? 1 over, 1, 2, 3 up, 2 over, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay? So what's it going to do is it's going to approach that one and go through that. Okay? All right? If you look at this one, all right, normally we're going to treat that at first. All right, first the anchor point is 0, 0. Since it's a log, I'm going to have a vertical asymptote. Okay? Now, since that base is 2, what I treat it as is 2 to the x. Okay, hopefully you can see that. All right, so that I'm going to use 0, 1, and 2. All right, maybe 3. All right, 2 to that would be 1, 2, 2 to the second will be 2, 2 to the third will be 8. Now, since it's a log, I'm going to use the inverse. Okay, so the inverse. So that's going to be 1, 0, 2, 1. All right, I'm sorry, that shouldn't be 2, 2. That should be 2, 4. I made a mistake there. All right, 2 to the second is 4. 2 to the third is 8. Okay, so that's going to be 4, 2, and 8, 3. So from this point, I'm going 1 right, 0, 2 right, 1, 4 right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 8, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and what happens is it approaches the asymptote, goes through that. Okay, all right, moving on to this one. Okay, now your anchor point for this one is going to be 1, 0. Okay, because remember we're opposite. So for the exponential, that's like the inside part. We're doing opposite there. So I'm 1 over 0. Since it's an exponential, I'm going to go this way. Okay. Once again, I'm using 0, 1, 2, and 3. All right, x, 2x. The reason why back here we don't use 3 is because 3 to the third would be 27. That's going to be way off. Okay. All right. So 2 to the 0, 1, 2, 4, and 8. So this is 0 over, 1 up. Okay, 2 over, 1 over, 2 up. 2 over, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. And 3 over, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically, and that's going to pass through there. Basically, what you should do is your anchor point determines which one of where the asymptote. Exponential goes through this way, log goes through this way. Okay, all right. All right, so what we have on this one is we have 3 to the x. Okay, I'm going to skip that one for right now. Okay, all right. See your teacher for that one. All right. Okay. Graph by transformations. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have to graph this, okay? All right, and then what we're going to have to do is find these different results. Okay, so since this anchor is going to be 0, 9, okay? It's going to be 0, 9. All right, so 0 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Be right here. Since it is a exponential, it's going to go through this. Okay? All right, 3 to the x, 0, 1, and 2, so that's going to be 1, 3, and 9. Now, since I have this negative in front, I'm going to multiply by -1, which is -1, -3, and -9. Okay? So 0 over, -1 down, 1 over, 3 down, 1 over, 1, 2, 3. Always go off of the anchor point. And 2 over, 9 down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Oops, that shouldn't. So. Good. Okay. So what this is going to do is going to approach this and go straight down. That's not a very good drawing. Okay. All right. So when I answer the questions here, the 0, we're going to say that's about x equals 2. It's pretty close, which makes that 2, 0. Okay. The y-intercept that crosses up at 8. Okay. So 0, 8. Okay. Vertical asymptote. This is a horizontal, so I have none there for vertical. Okay. My horizontal asymptote is going through at 9, so that's going to be y equals 9. Okay. Now, this arrow is a left arrow, but it's going flat. So the y-coordinate, it's getting flat at 9, not at infinity. This is a right arrow, okay, and that is going down, okay. To do increasing, decreasing, I still start left to right. So that's all decreasing, okay. So that's negative infinity to infinity. This is none, okay. As x approaches infinity, okay, as x approaches infinity, I have an answer of negative infinity. As x approaches negative infinity, I have an answer of 9, because that's where it's flattening out at. Okay, I think that's it for that. Okay, the domain. Okay, once again, the smallest x value is negative infinity. The biggest x value is positive. Okay, so for domain, the smallest was negative, the biggest was positive. So that makes the domain all real numbers. Okay. Makes the domain all real numbers. Now, the range, all right? Now, you have to include your anchor point in this. So my smallest y value is 9, okay? It's going to be 9. Now, I don't put a line underneath that because that passes through the asymptote. It's a dashed line. The biggest one, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. The biggest one, the smallest one is going to be negative infinity. The biggest one is going to be 9, and I'm not having a line underneath that because that's an asymptote. So I got y, such that y is less than 9. Okay? All right? All right, so that's that one. Let's go ahead and do this log problem. Okay? The anchor here is going to be -3, -2. Okay? All right, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right, it's going to have a vertical asymptote through it. Okay? All right, since it's, I'm going to use x and 3 to the x, so that's going to be 1, or 0, I'm sorry. 0, 1, 1 is 3, 2, and 9. Since it's the inverse, though, I'm flipping those around. Inverse, okay? So 1, 0 from this, okay? 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, up 1. 9, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, and 2. Okay? And so this is going to do this number. Okay? Now, as far as labeling the graph, this is a right arrow, positive, positive. Okay? This left arrow, all right, now, it's going straight down, so the y-coordinate is actually negative infinity. But here's the deal, it's going to stop right there, so I'm going to actually have that as -3 there. All right? So now the zeros, that crosses at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it crosses at 6. So that's going to be x equals 6. That's going to be 6, 0 for that intercept. That crosses at -1, so 0, -1. Vertical is at x equals 1, 2, and -3. We have none for this. Okay? This is increasing completely, but it's increasing from -3 to infinity. The reason why we don't go past 3 is the asymptote cuts us off there. It's not decreasing at all. Okay? The end behavior, as x approaches infinity, okay? As x approaches infinity, we have that as positive. As x approaches negative infinity, it's actually going to be still negative. As x approaches, ironically, -3, it's also going to be negative. All right? So that's that answer there. Okay? All right, the domain, the smallest x value that I have here is -3. The biggest that I have is infinity. Now, once again, I don't have a line under that because, all right, it's an asymptote. The range, the smallest y value I have is -infinity. The biggest one is positive. So that one's going to be all real numbers. Okay? All right?